Welcome to the Daily Grind. One half of the team. I'm Mark. That's Luke. What's up, dude?
Not much, brother. These aren't, that's the wrong side. I'll get this right one day. These aren't real icicles, despite what you may think. These are fake ones, even though it's cold outside.
It is so cold.
It's so cold.
And I was telling you before we came on, our heat went out, and I'm very aware it's our downstairs heat. We have two heaters, but our furnace doesn't work in the downstairs, and it hasn't worked since Thursday. So it's so cold. It's like hot as shit up in our upstairs, and it's so cold in our downstairs. So that's always fun. Kids are still not in school. It's been a week.
Yeah.
And man, I love them so much. That's what I remind myself every day. Shout out to the teachers, man. Ain't no way I can be going here every day, seeing these children and teaching them something. Ain't no way.
No.
I'm just not built for it. I just couldn't do it.
Look, there's a 13-year-old right here. I'm throwing something at him. He don't even know. He dead to the world. He don't know what's going on.
I haven't. My 13-year-old son, I don't think I've seen him the last day and a half. I saw him once yesterday. Actually, I saw him twice. To come down for lunch and then come down for dinner. He's been on a Fortnite rampage.
Same.
For a week, which is great. He's been on a heater, which is great. He's winning a lot. A good shout out to him. Great for him having a good time. But he needs something else in his life. This
like
week.
School.
Besides, I mean, it sucks. It's like you can't go outside. I get it. No. Like, it's like, well, I don't want to play video games all day, I guess. But I mean, you can't go outside. No one can come over. He can't go anywhere. It's too cold. So shout out to him. He's been on a Fortnite heater. Him and I played last night, some duos. Won a couple times.
Nice. I'm trying to get better at duos because I suck at Fortnite. I'm trying to get better.
I'm not as good as he is for sure. Like, not even close. He is very good. It's always joking. Like we'll play, like my wife and I will play together on like Friday nights or like Saturday or whatever, because that's what we do. Because there's nothing else to do. We're 30. We're 38, right?
I feel you.
And we'll like lose, and I'm like, do you know the kids that we lose to on Saturday nights? Jackson's the kid, like our kid. He's the kid, like him and his friends. That's the kids we lose to, right?
We're losing to.
Yeah, that's all right. We have fun though. So
keeps us young.
We're usually drunk, so that's our excuse. When he loses, what's his excuse?
Yeah, come on, bro.
So anyway, this is a Grizzlies show, so we will talk some Grizzlies today. The Grizzlies lose over the weekend to the Bulls. We'll talk about that in our first segment. We'll do our stats monster as well. Then the Grizzlies play tonight as well at the Raptors. They're on the really, really long road trip right now. Let's start with the Grizzlies Bulls. They lose. What was it? I don't remember the score. It's got pretty bad. 96-125 was the final. First off, that puts them 7 games outside the play-in. There isn't any hope they're making the play-in, right?
They'd have to go on a 7-game win streak, which I don't think is possible with this personnel. I just don't.
Yeah.
They might. I don't think our schedule's tough. I was looking at the February schedule, and it's going to be tough to string that many wins together. So I don't think so. I think at this point we're playing for draft position.
Yeah, I figured that too. I thought I would ask. I'm not gonna get. I'm not. We're not gonna go down that path. I don't think.
Nah.
And they also just need a lot of help. Like a lot.
Yeah, a lot more than I think I realized. I think,
or they're a lot more than I think they're gonna get. Like I thought they'd get more than what I didn't think. Excuse me. I didn't think Utah would continue to win as much as they have. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Grizzlies lose over the weekend to the Bulls. Your thoughts on the loss over the weekend?
Well, you're talking about needing help. I mean, anybody on this bench to do anything other than David Roddy? Like, I just don't. I don't see. I mean, he was the only one that had any of our bench points, right? I could be for a while there. I think like through 3 quarters, our bench had 11 points or something, and it was all him. Like, I don't know. We're incredibly outmanned, and against a Bulls team who is also missing. I mean, they're missing one of their guys, but they're playing a lot. I mean, they're playing a lot better without Levine, but like there's missing guys, and then there's an episode of ER like is our team right now, where we're so fucking hurt. It's like it's like we were talking. We need help. We need help. It's not coming. There's nobody on this roster that's going to do it right now. I mean, I don't know. The Bulls game was a very it showed how undermanned I think we really are the remainder of the season, how it's going to be. It's if Z keeps playing this way, if we're going to keep having to play Z and GG minutes together, I don't know. There's no surviving that.
Well, the Grizzlies start the first quarter in that game. They shoot 20 shots, 15 of them were threes. 42 threes overall, which is uncommon in the NBA. I know we shoot a lot of threes, but it is uncommon.
Uncommon.
They go 13 for 42. 13 for 42, which is insane. The first quarter, because the first 6 possessions were all threes, and I was just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And so I don't like to put a lot of things on the coaching staff with this roster, because it is difficult to win games, and that's always come back to. I'm like, I understand it. There's not a whole lot of choices, right? I get it. They're just breaking down the games where they're playing. The guys they're playing, I get, because it's just tough to do that. It's hard to do that. So, but at the same time, you got to have a game plan, man. You got to have a game plan. They got to be ready for the game. And we talked about it this show on Friday. I did think this game was a winnable game. It just kind of outside looking in, it didn't seem like the Bulls were playing great basketball. Even with the people they had. Now, the winnable game is the caveat of we're going to get something, like you mentioned, from the bench, something. But at the same time, they settled. I mean, they settled for jump shots. They did not want to play that game. They did not want to go inside. They did not want to bang around. They did not want to get into the paint. They didn't want to do any of that. And even Taylor Jenkins in the press conference, shout out to Andrew Katz, one of our writers who lives in Chicago, who actually was at the game as kind of our beat writer. He was the one that put out the press conference on our Low City Media Grizzlies Twitter. Shout out to him. And Taylor Jenkins even said that the plan was to get inside. They just didn't do it. There was no execution, right? Because I tweeted out it was this bad scheme or bad execution, right? Or
what was it?
It was bad execution, clearly. But the problem is the Grizzlies, I tweeted this out as well. The Grizzlies take the 5th amount of threes in the NBA, and they're dead last in percentage.
Yep.
So you could say we wanted to get inside. The threes in this offense are by design. It is absolutely by design, and it is an awful fucking design.
Only one guy should be shooting. Only one of them. Only one guy should be
exactly.
Shooting.
You have designed an offense, even from the get-go, right? Even from the beginning of the year, you have designed an offense that is designed around people who is designed to shoot a lot of threes and make a lot of threes, when you really only have, even with Desi, even with the full roster, you only have 2 true shooters, right?
Yes.
Really and truly, you have personnel that should be getting inside the paint, which they've done the past 2 years. So you've revamped and designed an offense around people, around personnel that don't make sense.
You just don't have it.
Exactly. They don't have the personnel to do what they're trying to do. I think that's kind of where I lie on it. It was truly a bad execution, bad game plan all around. Just shooting that many threes is just criminal, honestly. It's just there's no excuse for it. I mean,
it's asinine, man. I don't know. I get it. I get Andre Drummond and Vucevic are big dudes. I wouldn't want to go down there and bang bodies with them either. But if it ain't working outside, you gotta go. I don't know. Stupid.
But here's the thing: is that the few times Jaren was inside in that game, when they were actually in that game, it was inside with ease. It was much like Rudy Gobert. He didn't have any issues there. And the same problem though,
Jaren?
But Jaren's getting doubled, right?
That's true.
And so he's getting doubled, so you got to put people around him. It's just, I don't know. I understand it. They're not going to win a lot of these games. I get it. I really do. But at the same time, you've got to help yourself a little bit, right? You've got to go out there and you've got to help yourself just even remotely a little bit. And that's kind of I think that's the problem I have. And that's what is frustrating about it is I think that there's some things to help yourself and you're not doing them. And it's a little like the Gigi Jackson, Zaire Williams minutes. Playing Gigi Jackson, Zaire Williams, Jacob Gayard together. It might be the worst lineup out of the NBA all year. Like, I mean, it is truly
bad.
awful. Truly awful.
Really bad.
You've got to find a way to split Zaire and Gigi Jackson up. And I even tweeted this on during the game. Like, what I would be curious to see if you brought Gigi Jackson into the starting lineup and put John Conchar back on the bench, like putting Gigi Jackson and almost kind of hiding him within the starters and bring, it's a young guy who doesn't have a lot of experience. And maybe you put him with the starters and you get some people less concentrated on Gigi Jackson. Maybe you get some open shots. And then you put John Conchar, who's got some more experience, with the bench on him who has no experience. Like, just things like that. Again, like the coaches
let Conchar run the bench, man. Instead of letting Gilliard run the bench, let Conchar run it. Like, we're playing him at point some anyway. Like, just do that. Anything than what's happening right now, I feel like.
I feel like going back to a Gigi Jackson Zaire lineup is criminal, is an abject failure. Honestly, I really do.
Comically bad.
I mean, I think looking at any data you can find. I mean, we can find it, and the team has access to has more data than we have access to. Right? If you look at data and if you look at your eyeballs, you have to look at data. My eyeballs hurt from watching that shit. So like, just look at the floor, and I think going back to that, thinking something's going to be different is really frustrating. I think that's what, and again, I go back to it. They're going to lose games. Like, it's hard to get frustrated over this because they have nobody on the court that can help you win these games, and that's frustrating from a starting point. You feel like the years kind of, you throw this year out the window, and that's frustrating on the surface. But I think that you got to do stuff to help yourself, and that's kind of where I lie on this game. Is that I think that you did a lot of games, you did a lot of things, you're doing a lot of things that don't help yourself, that everybody can see, and I think that's the frustrating part with Taylor Jenkins, is that we can all see it, and it takes him a long time, feel like, to get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, you should make this change, and everyone around you can see it. I think that might be the most frustrating thing for Taylor Jenkins, is that he is. Maybe he's just stubborn. Maybe he's like, I'm right and you're wrong, and I'll prove it to you. I don't know.
It's the Budenholzer coaching tree, man. Budenholzer was the same way at Milwaukee. Like, he was stubborn. He wouldn't make adjustments until it was too late, and by then it would either cost him the series, and it ultimately cost him his job. Ultimately,
I do think if Taylor Jenkins is ever relieved of his duties, that will be the reason. That will be the number one reason. And you're even back to, I don't want this to be a Taylor Jenkins show, but even back to his playoff games, we've seen it time and time again. The same thing. He makes adjustments too late. He is outcoached in every playoff series. And again, for all of Taylor Jenkins, I love Taylor Jenkins, but that is his biggest flaw. And it costs him things sometimes. And I think, just again, these are kind of, these games don't matter, right? These games are whatever. It's against the Bulls in January, but I think that's what the frustrating part is. I think we can all sit there and say, hey, this ain't working, bro. We've seen enough of it. Like, you should be able to see enough sample size of one game. This shit was awful. Like,
yes,
two guys that clearly just don't know what's going on out there. And Zaire and Gigi Jackson. And Gigi Jackson has an excuse. It's his fourth NBA game. He has an excuse to be confused, right? And not know where to be at certain times. Zaire Williams has no excuse. Zero excuse. Yeah, I don't know. That's my rant. I feel like that was very ranty. But that's my rant on that game. I turned the game off in the fourth quarter. I didn't want to watch it anymore. I was like, whatever, man. Yeah,
my girlfriend was watching it longer than she was watching it more than me, because I was like, she's getting into basketball, and I was like, we're down almost 30. This one's gonna be tough. She stayed in there though, and I was like, I can't. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's different if you have Desmond Bain and John Morant. 30 doesn't look like so bad anymore. But when you got Jaren and some people,
And when you're 18 of what, 43? What do we say when you're just airballing everything?
I mean, they were 32 for 75 in the game, 13 for 44 from three. Just, silver linings and such. They were 19 from 23 from free throw, 82%. So
19 points.
Silver linings and such. Zaire Williams was a negative 29. Gigi Jackson was never 17. I don't know what else to say about this game, other than it sucked.
Shit sandwich.
Yeah, it sucks to suck. I don't know. We'll talk about some bright spots in the next game. We've got some. We've got a few. I do have a few bright spots. So let's take a quick break. We'll talk about those coming up in the next segment. I promise you there are some, and so we'll give those to you here in just a second.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, but now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, he's David Jones. Outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? He's facilitating the ball well. What do you I don't
2 at 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner 3 from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up. And then literally within the first 15 seconds, missed a wide open layup. And then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you.
Well, I think
we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy. And we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the show, The Daily Grind, right here on Bluff City Media. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you go and do that. It's free, super easy, and it helps us out a lot. We are here every single morning at 9 a.m. to do a Grizzlies show. Luke and I will be here all week. Let's talk about our stats monster from the weekend, Luke. Who is yours from the Bulls game? I know it's slim pickings, but go for it.
So I'm kind of glad. I'm glad you have some positive ones and you're letting me go first because I'm going to do a little flipperoonie. I want to put some angry eyes on this guy and do an anti-stats monster because I have been appalled at the way that Zaire Williams has played the last three. I mean, specifically, let's just take the last. I got a feature coming out tomorrow. Let's take the last 3 game sample size. Just the last 3: -13, -26, -29. That's unacceptable. If you want to be an NBA player, it's really unacceptable if you're in your 3rd year. And it's like triply unacceptable if you are this different of a player when John Morant's on the floor. That's not someone, and I've been a Z defender for a while, but that's not the recipe for someone that I want on my team. And at this point, the bad is outweighing the good. And at this point, I don't even know if he's the tryouts for trade packages isn't going so well. I just don't know what to do with him at this point. It's really frustrating. I won't go too hard on that because I want to get some positive stuff in here, but that's my anti-stats monster.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy that it's totally normal for you to play better when your superstar is on the floor with you, right? Totally
Yes.
normal. Especially as good as John Morant is getting people involved. But it's abnormal for you to play this badly without John Morant. Like you can't just depend on John Morant, right? You gotta do something on your own. You can't just be, oh well, I'll be good when John Morant's good. That's not gonna work.
No.
And it's like you mentioned, especially for someone in their third year, that's the frustrating thing is that if anything, Zaire's gotten worse, and I just don't know how that happens. But he's gotten much worse than when he started in the league. And again, maybe we were all, his first year, maybe we were all had kind of the wool pulled over our eyes because he's playing with John Morant. And maybe that was the case, that he played a whole year with John Morant. And then you're like, wow, this is pretty good. Like, I mean, I think we were all kind of excited, like good pick, like maybe this is going to work out. And then fast forward to year 3 and here you are. A lot of times, last year and this year without John Morant, it's like, well, he looks very pedestrian. Very pedestrian.
I think he was I think he did himself a disservice that first year because he was so young. I think these were all learned. I think these were all learned habits that he just can't break now. Or like it's going to take some. I don't know if he's going to break them. I don't know if he can break the habits here. Because he was so young in that first year, it was all lob to Z, lob to Z, lob to Z. Like he got used to a really specific, really good way for him of playing. And take that away, and it's like you said, I would say it's less than pedestrian some nights. Like I don't know. Didn't mean to gang up on the guy, but
no. I mean, you're right though. My stats monster, I'm going to go with not this kind of. I'm not going to go Jaren Jackson Jr. I feel like that's too on the nose. I'm going to go Luke Kennard. 4 for 7, 3, 14 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds. Dude, the last couple of games has really just shot the ball well. And it's kind of just started letting it fly a little bit more. And that's what I want to see from Luke Kennard. I get it. A lot of people hate Luke Kennard because he makes $15 million a year and he only does one thing. But that one thing he does is like super, super elite and a really hard skill set to acquire in the NBA.
Yes.
And so I don't understand the Luke Kennard hate. I really don't get it. I understand he is very one-dimensional. But the one dimension is supposed to be played alongside, people like John Morant and Desmond Bane, where he is a one pass away, where you can't help off of, right? He's supposed to be a floor spacer, not a shot creator. And that is kind of where he's falling right now. So shout out to Luke Kennard because that's, the Luke Kennard hate is not deserved. So
it's not deserved, man. It's like you hit the nail on the head too. You're like a dude that offers a very specific skill set that every single team in the NBA would want to have. And all this Luke Kennard hate, if people are paying attention, his last 11 games, 8 of them he's gone for double figures. So it's like,
well,
at least
again,
this offense.
The point I want people to understand is that this is supposed to be alongside Desmond Bane, John Morant, Jaren Jackson. He's not supposed to be a primary option, right? He's not supposed to be a secondary option. He is the guy that waits in the corner to knock down threes so that you can't help off of them, so they can't double. You put him on the same side as Jaren when they're doubling, so you can't double off of them. You put him on the
wide open.
Yeah, you put him on the same side of opposite sides of Desmond Bane, so you have a wide open floor for Jaren to work. Those are the type of things that you want from Luke Kennard. Not, hey, let's shoot the ball when everybody in the world knows you're the only shooter on the floor. They're going to not let you get any space, right? It's a little bit like Desmond Bane their first 20 games where he couldn't find any space at all. And that's what happens with Luke Kennard. So that's all that's what people understand. That this is the Luke Kennard thing is while it's frustrating to watch right now because it's like, yeah, well, if he's not scoring, what's he doing out there? And that's true. That's true, right? But at the same time, he's supposed to be out there with guys who kind of make up for that non-scoring on the defense part. They kind of hide him a little bit.
He's still doing this and also basically running the point now. Like he's been running the offense. People shut up.
That's not to say he's not untouchable, right? That's not to say if you don't find a deal to upgrade your team because he's 50. He has a team option. He's 15
very tradable contract.
Very tradable contract. That's not to say he's untouchable. If you find a deal for him, great. But it's got to be a good deal because right now he's an asset that is very good, right? Like that's a very good asset to have. It's a skill again that everybody wants that nobody could get in 3-point shooting. Yeah. He's literally the best 3-point shooter in the league. So anyway, you had your Z rant. That's my Luke Kennard rant. Let's take another break. We'll be back on the other side. We'll talk about this upcoming Raptors game. One they might actually win. I don't know. Let's see.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now, I might not like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're gonna play you, bang, 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 and hopefully everybody understand. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game.
Right.
All of us, to the last person on the bench, you got an ego, but all of us can't be the man.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping this logo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes,
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act, okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So it's fine. Cool.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Let's take the stats monster down because I didn't do it during the break and I meant to. That's on me. Let's get back to the rundown. Every day here at 9 a.m. Look, we're still not all on our A game. Me and Zaire and Gigi.
We got kids in the house.
Yeah, but it's excusable, I guess. Let's get to the Raptors. The Grizzlies play tonight. They are at Toronto. Toronto has decided to blow it up. And so they have decided to rebuild. So that's good news for the Grizzlies. They are 16 and 27, just one game ahead of the Grizzlies in the Eastern Conference. What says you about this game tonight?
Man, I feel like I come on here and against every team below 500, we're like, it's a winnable game. Without Siakam, I genuinely think this is a really winnable game because I just don't know who takes care of Jaren the whole game. I don't know. Like, I just don't. I feel like Siakam was a pretty big part of their team. And I love if someone walked into my house right now and said, hey, Luke, pick two fingers. You got to give them to us, but you can have Bruce Brown on your team. I would do it. I would literally do it. If I got to pick the fingers, I would do it in a heartbeat. It's like, I don't know if Bruce Brown, I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's going to be on the team by the game tonight. That's how desirable I think he is. But I don't know. I feel like if we're so evenly matched record wise, we talked about this last week when we play the same style of hoops. Like if we're just going down the rosters and doing matchups, like guy to guy, I just think that I would want more guys on the Grizzlies team. And that's why I think it's a winnable game, but just barely. It's like just barely a winnable game.
I think this game might actually be competitive. I mean, I'm with you. I see that. I see the team and I see them like, oh, they're blowing it up. And I'm like, oh, that should be a winnable game. I really do. Because like you mentioned, whoever guards Jaren, I don't know who guards Jaren. Right now, I think there's like Jacob Portal is hurt, and he's out. And so, I don't really know who they're gonna play on Jaren Jackson. Either they're playing really like Scotty Barnes or RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly. in their starting lineup. I don't know who else they're starting, but I just don't know who even any of those guys though they have on their team right now. I don't know who guards Jaren. And so I think if the Grizzlies understand that, like, hey, like this is a game where they got no one that can guard our guy, and maybe some of the other guys can get some points, right? I mean, maybe you force them to guard Jaren and that opens up Luke for some threes. But I think with you, just guy for guy, it's tough. I mean, you got RJ Barrett, which I think, Vince Williams is on RJ Barrett probably for the most part. They're starting Jonte Porter, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, and Gary Trent Jr. That's how they started the game before. And they've lost 6 out of the last 7 games. I mean, it just seems like a prime recipe for either a win or them to come out just lighting it up on fire for no reason. That would feel like a very, like, we've won 6 out of the last 7. We're kind of rebuilding, but hey, who cares? Let's just go out there and there's no playbook. Let's just go out there and hoop and just be on fire.
Darko could coach him like that too, man. I love Darko. And he can fire this team up, and I'm with you. They could come out just hooping for no damn reason and beat our asses, but I hope not.
I mean, look, they just don't got a lot of guys that can score the basketball. Just like the Grizzlies, they're in the same boat as the Grizzlies. Like, right? Like if either of these teams reach 100, it'll be a miracle. The Grizzlies have a better defense than them. I will say that. Statistically, just eyeball. I mean, just player wise, they got a better defense than these guys. Just really just going to depend, obviously, what happens to the Grizzlies bench if they can try to avoid Gigi, like we talked about, Gigi and Zaire together. If they could do something to alleviate that problem or just limit that problem.
Have they not limit the hardship exceptions yet?
They have not awarded them yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reason they haven't signed into the 10 days, they haven't awarded the hardship exceptions just yet, so they won't have anybody.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, just guy for guy though. Like, I mean, RJ Barrett, you're kind of your guy that you're really worried about. I mean, Gary Trent Jr. still can still shoot the ball.
He still can score.
So, but you still, I mean, if you're going to continue to start John Conchar and Vince Williams, you got 2 guys out there that can still defend at a high level against multiple positions. And so I would feel good about skicking those guys on RJ Barrett and Gary Trent Jr. and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It feels like a winnable game. The Toronto Raptors, in terms of just statistics, are middle of the road in terms of pace. Offensive rating, they're 17th. Defensive rating, they're 19th. And I don't know how much of that is still lingering from having Pascal Siakam and some players and OG Anunoby, so they're better players before they traded them. I would be curious to see what those ratings look like with this team as currently constructed with. Starting RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, 2 people who are not as the people they gave away. I would be curious, and I'm sure that there's someone out there that knows it. I don't know it, but I would curious to see what that rating is without them. So I know the Grizzlies it can be, even with the guys right now, can be a legitimately good defense.
Yeah, because we're almost a top 10 unit.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see what happens there. I know they can do it. It just depends on whether they decide to, again, like we were talking about the first, whether they decided to shoot threes or they want decided to get Jaren in the paint, get Jaren going in the paint like they had against Minnesota.
Whew, yeah. I mean, this could be a game where, like, if they don't foul Jaren out himself, I mean, he could have another almost 40 burger if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean. It could be a seriously big Jaren night, really big Jaren night. If there, again, like you said, there isn't anybody that can stop Jaren on this game right now. So I'll be curious to see what happens. I mean, I'm obviously hopefully it'll be a competitive game because they're 2 bad teams, Yeah. And you look past that and just say, hey, it's a good NBA game, good-ish in the 80s, in the 80 high 80s, low 90s,
some quality hoops.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight with the Grizzlies Raptors. Again, the Raptors don't do I don't want to go through statistics with the Raptors because they're very skewed, right?
Yeah.
We only have about maybe a week or 2 of sample size with this team right now as it's currently constructed. The Raptors, not the Grizzlies, because they tried to wear their pieces. So I don't want to go through like stats and stuff because they're very skewed because of it's been a full year of these stats. So when they're, they're top 10 in certain things. And I don't think they're top 10 in those things anymore, right? With the with the roster they have. So I don't want to do that. We're just looking at eyeball tests. Like these guys are how good they are as NBA players and how good our guys are NBA players. And, the Grizzlies need to win. I need to win. I need to win.
Just for our sanity, after being stuck in the house for a week, just to not fully lose our minds. A win would be nice.
I don't want to come on here and talk about a loss tomorrow. I don't want Nate and Daniel have to talk about a loss on the post-game show. I know they're getting sick of it as well. So for our sanity as well, for content, Grizzlies, I know that's what you guys care about the most. Look, they got Grind City there too. They got to talk about this stuff too, just like we do.
Yeah.
So we all care about a W. It makes life easier. That's for sure. So
really does.
That's going to be it for our show today. You guys stick around for our show tomorrow. We'll be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We will hopefully be talking about a W and hopefully talking about a 40-piece from Jaron. Those are things that we'd like to see tonight. I do think the Grizzlies are going to win. I do think they'll get a win tonight. I'm throwing it out into the ether. I'm going to will it to fruition. So
send the vibes.
Send them the vibes. We appreciate you guys joining us today. So we'll be back tomorrow with a whole new show. Join us right here at 9 a.m.